Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. US President Donald Trump has launched his Board of Peace, initially focused on cementing Gaza's ceasefire, but which he said could take a wider role that may worry other global powers. Trump said that once this board is completely formed, they can do whatever they want to do, but in conjunction with the United Nations, adding that the UN had great potential that had not been fully utilised. Trump, who will chair the board, invited dozens of other world leaders to join, saying he wants it to address challenges beyond the stuttering Gaza truce. US President Donald Trump has said that his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Davos was very good and that the war in Ukraine has to end. Trump spoke briefly after the hour-long meeting, saying his message to Russian President Vladimir Putin was clear. Zelenskyy had earlier planned to skip Davos to stay in Kyiv amid power outages caused by Russian strikes. After the meeting, President Zelenskyy said documents aimed at ending the war were nearly ready, adding that Ukraine was working with honesty and determination. Speaking in Davos, he said Russia must be ready to end what he called its aggression. Mentioning that Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro was on trial in the United States, but Russian President Vladimir Putin still was not, Zelenskyy contrasted the two situations as he called for stronger action against Moscow's aggression in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is ready to send $1 billion in Russian assets frozen in the United States to President Donald Trump's Board of Peace initiative. Speaking to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, Putin said the funds would support the Palestinian people. He said the proposal to use frozen Russian assets had already been discussed with Washington. Russian President Vladimir Putin will today discuss a possible peace plan for Ukraine with US envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in Moscow, after President Donald Trump said a deal to end the war was reasonably close. He said that he would meet Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Kushner in Moscow to continue dialogue on the Ukrainian settlement, as well as Trump's Board of Peace idea and the possibility of using frozen Russian assets. Meanwhile, US envoy Steve Witkoff has said that a lot of progress has been made in Ukraine peace talks and that negotiations were down to one last issue. He told an audience at the World Economic Forum in Davos that if both sides want to solve this, they are going to get it solved. US President Donald Trump has abruptly stepped back from threats to impose tariffs as leverage to seize Greenland, ruled out the use of force, and suggested a deal was in sight to end a dispute over the Danish territory. In Davos, after meeting with NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte, Trump said Western Arctic allies could forge a new deal over the strategic island territory of 57,000 people that satisfies his desire for a Golden Dome missile defense system and access to critical minerals, while blocking Russia and China's ambitions in the Arctic. On the other hand, the NATO Secretary-General said the issue of whether Greenland will remain with Denmark did not come up in his talks with Donald Trump. In an interview on Fox News' Special Report with Bret Baier show, Rutte was asked if Greenland will still be under the Kingdom of Denmark in this framework deal that Trump mentioned. He said Trump is very much focused on what do we need to do to make sure that that huge Arctic region, where change is taking place at the moment, where the Chinese and the Russians are more and more active, how we can protect it. Spain, on the other hand, is urging the EU to move towards creating a joint army for the bloc as a deterrence measure. Spain's Foreign Minister, José Manuel Álvarez, said ahead of a day of meetings in Davos that the region should focus first on bringing together its tangible assets to properly integrate its defence industry, and then mobilising a coalition of the willing. Meanwhile, the US is due to officially exit the World Health Organization. In the face of warnings, it will hit both US health and global health, and also in violation of a US law that requires Washington to pay the UN Health Agency $260 million in fees that it owes. A US State Department spokesperson said the WHO's failure to contain, manage, and share information had cost the US trillions of dollars, and the president had exercised his authority to pause the future transfer of any US government funds, support, or resources to the WHO. 3 people have been shot dead in an attack in the Australian state of New South Wales, with local media reporting the gunman remained at large and the shooting was a suspected incident of domestic violence. Police said an operation was underway in the town of Lake Cargelligo and urged residents to stay indoors. Emergency services were called to the scene following reports of a shooting in the late afternoon. And Tokyo Electric Power has planned to shut the reactor following a malfunction at the world's biggest nuclear plant, just a day after it got back online for the first time in more than 13 years. The company also said it would carry out a thorough investigation after a malfunction at reactor number 6 of the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear plant. An alarm was triggered early Thursday during work to withdraw control rods from the reactor. It marked TEPCO's first reactor restart since the Fukushima disaster in 2011. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.